But let's move on to the Northeast State. Homestead and Snyder are on Saturday. Our Highlight Zone game of the week is going to be a game that will go a long way in determining who wins the Northeast State. We're talking about East Noble hosting Leo. This would have a little more pizzazz had Leo been able to hold on to that fourth quarter lead last week, but in every way, shape, or form, this is going to have an impact on who wins the Northeast State.
Definitely, and maybe you can have, we've had it before where all those teams go 1-1 against each other and they tie, so that could be a scenario as well. Obviously, you know, Leo led throughout most of the game last week against New Haven, dropped it late into overtime. They give up that 4th and 29 that was just an absolute backbreaker in regulation that eventually led to the tying touchdown. But yeah, a lot of interesting things that could happen in this game. Obviously, you look at an East Noble team that with Andrew McCormick and the guys around him are playing pretty well. But, you know, this should be a good game, I think. You know, Leo, really, I think they didn't win last week, but I don't think a fair amount of people thought they could hang blow for blow with New Haven, with the offense that New Haven's been able to put on the field. And it was a very competitive game, and a lot of people, and I'm sure Jared Souter would agree, that that was a game they should have won.
When you look at Leo's 2 losses this season, they're not 2 bad teams. They're 2 good teams. But the concerning part about it is you're talking about losing to New Haven and losing to Angola, where you're up double digits in the fourth quarter at home. Yeah. How do you address that going forward so when the playoffs hit, that doesn't become an issue? Because, you know, Jared Souter would be the first one to tell you, you can't be up double digits in the fourth quarter at home and lose a football game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes down to the small things, running the ball. Being able to run the ball consistently, move the chains, run that clock. Leo hasn't been able to do it late in the games, and they're stuck with, you know, having to go vertical to try to move the chains and then giving the ball back. But yeah, they're 2 losses to 2 teams that combined 8-0, so not to take anything away from Leo, it's just they're close, they just can't finish. And we see so many teams at so many different levels that are like that, and that right now is Leo. Now, are these games that later in the season they're going to be able to flip and hang on and win? Very well could be, but it'll be interesting coming up on Friday night against East Noble.
The thing about East Noble is I know that they've played 4 games, and we've seen Andrew McCormick for the last 3 years. I still feel like we don't know what this year's East Noble team can be, what they are right now, or what they could be. Like there's still a question mark to me hanging over East Noble football because of the number of talented guys that they did graduate. So you're still kind of wondering, what have they got up in Kendallville this year? And this game will go a long way in determining, you know, where they are in that Northeast State hierarchy.
Yeah, they haven't had a big showdown in the NE8. Their non-conference plays them against teams that we don't traditionally see, so we can't really say, well, they beat a good Warsaw team. We really don't know how good Warsaw is. We don't really follow them that much. So we really haven't had a good litmus test in the area for East Noble to really say, well, they're good and they beat this team. So, yeah, we'll find out a lot about East Noble too. And maybe the question is, do they have enough to compete with New Haven? And you say, well, Leo had more than enough. They should have won that game. So it should be a good game on Friday. And there's still a possibility that Leo is at least able to win a share of the NE8.
To me, one of the interesting contests is also DeKalb at Columbia City. I just want to touch on that for a second because, gosh, if Columbia City can pull it out at home, you're talking about a Columbia City team that's 4-1. Brett Fox is working the magic over in Whitley County.
And then he's like, crap, I still got to play Leo and all those teams.
Yeah,
so,
well, true, but
4-1 is 4-1. I mean, this is a Brett Fox. You know, this was a team of the last couple of years that weren't even going to be wasn't able to win these games even. So yeah, you can say they haven't played the heavyweights yet, but then again, you know, 3-1, and if they can beat the Barons on Friday, 4-1, and then it really starts rolling for Columbia City. You know what I'm saying?
I think Columbia City would love to have that Week 1 game against Warsaw back.
Absolutely.
Because I think they've kind of figured out some things, figured out guys in different roles, what works for them. If they could play that game in like Week 7, I think it'd be a much closer ball game than the one we saw.
Yeah, definitely. And we're starting to see consistent offense from Columbia City, and that was kind of the issue the first couple of years is their defense kept them in a lot of games. They just couldn't score enough points, and now they're at least scoring some points. Now, they wait till the fourth quarter to do it, particularly against Belmont.
Magic, baby.
You know, and you got to pull out the trick play for the 2-point conversion. But, you know, hopefully the blood pressure of Brett Fox is A-okay, and hopefully he doesn't have to go through another tight.
He hides it well with the beard.
Yeah,
if he's got the high blood pressure.
It hides the redness of his face.